Here we go. And we're live here at the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal, and I'm joined by filmmaker David W. Bailey. It's very cool to have you here.
Hey, nice to be here, man.
Dastardly Dave. We need a D word for you.
Deadly, maybe.
Deadly. I like Deadly Dave. Yep. Oh, so Troy's on his way to the terrible one. Will be here shortly. So a lot of cool stuff to talk about. In fact, you have your premiere. Your first time making a feature film. So how is that process been?
Well, it's the first time directing, but I was a co-EP on Motel 1 and 2. So I've been through the process a little bit, but it's definitely different being first time director. I've done a lot of shorts, but it's just the sheer amount of length of time that you're tasked to be on top of everything is much more intense. And you can't hit pause, you can't go run to base. It's not freeze tag. You can't run to base and just go hide. Problems come up and you have to solve them. Like we were shooting on Saturday and there was a jailbreak scene, and I was so intense into everything going on that I forgot about the wardrobe change in the second scene. So now we have to fly back to Cincinnati to shoot one exterior running out scene for one of the characters. And I'm like, oh my God, she would have been wrapped for the whole movie. And now we have to go back for just literally chasing a character out of a building. Yeah. So it's hard to be on top of it the whole time,
I saw pictures actually on your Facebook of you in prison, where I thought maybe you just did a time or something, but
it felt
I was like I don't want to bring this up. It's bad stuff.
Yeah. But you guys just had Mike Ferguson on 2 weeks ago, I think. And he was playing one of the prison guards. And so I had a buddy, there are two guards, and they're putting handcuffs on me, right? So my buddy put on just a little tight. And then there's a moment where Ferguson grabs me and throws me against the wall. And the whole time he had been grabbing me by the hand. But in one of the takes, just happened to be the take where the cuffs are on a little too tight, he grabbed me by the hand and snapped it another. I'm telling you, if it would have gone one more snap, I'd have been going to the hospital with a broken hand.
Just trying to get into the role.
Yeah, it helped.
Did you use that take?
Oh, well, we still haven't cut that. That was just from last Saturday. So, I mean, I probably will, but...
Let everyone know too. It's the day of the cicada. Is that how you pronounce cicada?
Cicada.
Cicada. There we go.
Cicada, yeah. Day of the cicada,
is that one behind you in the middle there?
That is. That's what they look like. So they come up and they're more brown. They shed their exoskeleton and they get wings and then the beady red eyes. And they are they're the most gentle creature in the world. Like they never actually would hurt anybody. But people are so scared of them that all you got to do is show them crawling on somebody, have a good actress screaming as if they're being hurt, and the beady red eyes, and it sells everything. Yeah.
So what is Day of the Cicada about? I assume cicadas.
It's about cicadas, but it's about a child that his parents are killed by cicadas, but nobody believes him, and so he's been in prison for 34 years. And in 2004, so kind of 17 years through his prison term, they released him on good behavior. And then a bunch of his friends obviously died and he was sent back to prison. Oh, so now he is hell-bent on getting out and destroying the cicadas once and for all.
Oh, very cool. So how long, I know you're making now, but when did the idea come about? When was this is something I'd like to make?
So I remember in 1987, my mom telling me about in the 1970 invasion that one got down her shirt and she was so scared. And so I kind of I didn't know what they were yet, but I kind of had this, horrific image in my head. And then in 87, when they finally came out, she always tells the story of, I remember when they first came out and you heard them and you were like, they're back, right? So I had, in 2004, I'd been in LA about 4 years, and a buddy of mine was like, hey man, the cicadas are coming back this year. And so I went back and I shot a short film where basically everything we're saying in Day of the Cicada that happened in 2004 actually kind of happened. So it was easier for me to kind of get into that role, because like what we're mentioning in 2004 that happened actually kind of happened in the short film. But after 2004, I was just like, the next time that they come, I'm going to be in Cincinnati. I'm going to shoot a feature. I didn't realize at the time that it was going to be the first one that I directed. I thought I would have had several by then, but that's the way it wound up happening.
Yeah. So you actually got like shots of the cicada?
Oh, we have.
Oh,
I mean, it's beautiful. We have. There's one point where it's kind of Cujo-esque, and a guy's dropped his keys out of when he's running to the car, and he's like looking out, scared of the bugs, can't get the keys, but they're all over. They're like on the roof, on the tires, on the hood, and so he's just like, well, I can't go out and get my keys now. So you kind of it's like Cujo. He's like stuck in there for like 2 days.
Oh, that's awesome. But Terrible Troy has joined us.
Hello,
hey, how
there.
you doing, man?
I'm great, thanks. How about you?
Good.
We're talking about Day of the Cicada, which is David's directorial debut, feature directorial debut is coming out. He's making now.
Yeah.
Troy, do you have any stories of Cicada?
Actually, I don't. We don't.
I don't think we have them around here.
Yeah, I don't think.
We have locusts.
Maybe we get. Yeah, we have had those.
So in 2004, my mom's friend was like a doctor. He'd just gone to the dentist, and he wasn't scared of them at all, right? So just have to preface it, was not scared of them at all. But he had his something done to his cheek, and so it was numb. And so he's driving home, and he happened to look up in the rear view, and he saw one just right there, and it scared him. So he kind of wrecked off the road and hit a pole.
Oh, geez. I hope he's all right.
Yeah. You hear that with like insects a lot, and like people get stung by a hornet or something, and then get into a car accident, or a spider comes like webbing down on them or something.
Well, you actually do have to, like, when you're driving down the highway, you have to like keep the windows up, because there were a couple that flew in, like I believe it was Interstate 74, flew in the window, and some couple of people were driving, and they're all getting in wrecks and stuff too. So I mean, I don't know if insurance covers bugs, does it?
It probably should. If
it's the bug insurance.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Mike Ferguson. Who are some of the other people involved?
With Day of the Cicada, Kelly Reeder, she actually just was in one of Bruce Willis's last movies.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
wow. She was also plays the lead in Clown Motel 2. We had to recast because of COVID. That's kind of where kind of met her. And so basically we're resetting the end scene of Clown Motel 1, because it's obviously how all the 80s films used to do it, and I just love it. And so I was like, well, Joe, if we have to reset and have a new Brooke, why don't we do a couple of things at the very beginning of the movie to kind of trick the audience into the fact that maybe this was always Brooke, right? So she is recreating the end scene where Brooke runs out and is trapped basically at the Clown Motel, and she runs out and she slams into the barrier, right? Like, and boom, she hit that barrier, and I turned to our camera guy. I was like, she can act. I mean, I could see it first take. She's one of the best I've worked with.
Oh, that's awesome. So I mentioned that. I've mentioned that before in the show. I always like especially like the first 4 Friday the 13th, where they show the end of the first movie beforehand. And that never really happens anymore. Maybe there's something that's slipping my mind, but it used to be like in everything. And I always like that, because if you hadn't watched it right away, it freshens up your mind. And I don't know, there's just something about it.
I think it's the greatest way to start. I think the reason might have been, I think with like Friday the 13th part 4, maybe some people from the previous movies trying to get residuals because their
so they're in both movies, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. As long as you're not even though I love Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, 45 minutes of the movie is Silent Night, Deadly Night. Wow. Which makes me laugh. If you watch them back to back, it's a little much.
Yeah, no, I actually just watched Silent Night, Deadly Night last December. The part two, I didn't remember that they had used so much
Oh yeah,
footage.
honestly, like almost half the film is
Wow.
flashbacks from the first movie. It's really crazy. Yeah, that and then Garbage Day is in there, but yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah. Then the ones after that have like basically nothing to do with the first two.
Right. I think part five was like a Coven of Witches or something like that.
Yeah,
Is
yeah, yeah.
It wasn't one like Bill Moseley with some kind of mind powers. He was in a
Yeah, it's
coma.
sort of about one of the elements. He's like that character, but his brain's like blown off, so he walks around with like his brain exposed.
Oh man, I thought like I'm getting flashbacks of the movie Patrick now.
So along these lines, what are some of the horror movies that got you into horror?
I remember way back when A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 was playing, and my sister had randomly won like a tub of ice cream at the fair.
Okay.
And it was a Saturday, and parents were gone. We were the only people in the house, and the sun shining through the window behind the TV, like middle of the day. But she's my older sister, but she basically was like, "Hey, you can eat as much of this ice cream as you want, as long as you sit here and watch A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 with me." But she said, "But if you don't eat the whole thing by the end of the movie, I get it back." So of course I'm sitting there just digging in and just watching the mayhem. And, I got my sister there with me. The sun's out. I got ice cream. And so I felt very, I'm in a very happy, safe place.
Without a doubt.
And then, a lot of those movies I equated to like the Survivor series of the WWF in the 80s. Right. That's really a lot of it. That's why they say final girl. Like it's like who's gonna survive, who has the skills. It's not always who you think it is, of course, but to me it was like Rambo. That's all the 80s kind of were with some of the horror, you know what I mean? Especially like Friday the 13th. So that was that one. I'm one of the weird people that accidentally saw Halloween 2 before I'd seen Halloween 1.
Oh, really?
And then a couple years later when I saw Halloween 1, and especially if you look at the USA extended scenes, which I actually just watched the other day for the one where Dr. Loomis kind of comes in after the triumvirate scene, and they're like, we're not going to move Michael. And he's like kind of standing there, and he kind of observes. And Michael's in the chair, little Michael's in the chair, he's not moving anything. And Loomis just observes. And finally he goes, you fooled them all, haven't you, Michael? But you haven't fooled me. So we were looking at that actually for the lighting for some of the jail scene, because what we just shot was Jacob and his psychiatrist meeting for the first time, because she's a new psychiatrist. So meeting for kind of the first time in the movie. And we kind of mimicked some of the lighting just in homage to that scene.
Oh, yeah. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, I like that too.
Just something works, sticks in your memory. And, that's not just in horror, but, many directors, are inspired by other things.
Yeah, for sure. Clown Motel. There's a shot in there where Loco, the clown, takes like a tire, like a carjacker's tire iron, something like that, and he jams it up in one of the girls' breasts, right? That was basically, Joe and I were kind of screwing around and trying to figure out how to kill somebody off, and I was like, well, what if we did this? And that is direct homage to Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh yeah, right.
They had this hook, and they hooked it under this, and I'm just looking, and I'm like, how did they do that? Like to this day, I'm like, how did they do that? It looks so real, so that's why that's in Clown Motel, is kind of direct homage to that.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
So practical effects in Day of the Cicada?
There are. Unfortunately, there's going to have to be some CG, which I was fighting against. I did not want, but it became a little bit necessary. But so my mom's dying off, and when she's dying off, she's all kinds of bloody, and I don't want to go in too much, but like might be an eye hanging out. And so yeah, all practical.
The Clown Motel movies. So how did you get involved in those?
So I think Trista talked to you guys about the Paranormal captivity movie.
Yeah. We got to watch it. Yeah.
So I was bored one summer and I was like, man, I want to make something. I want to create. And so I looked over and I saw my cat and I saw my GoPro and I'm like, let me make a movie about how my cat is possessed. And there's some crazy stuff in that. I mean, I could go on, but there was like at one point there was a noise in the hall and I saw how he was reacting to it. And so I like literally grabbed my camera, hit record. And by the time it was to my face, I went to my knee and I was in character. And I was like, yeah, hey, Cauldron, what do you hear out there? What do you hear? And he's like, it's crazy for a cat. He's like doing this stuff, like looking over my shoulder out the hallway. And he loops around, he goes into the other room and then kind of sneaks out and peeks. And it was just like the cat outacted me in that movie. So I had that into the Fright Night Film Festival in Louisville, and Joe had the Bloody Island, one of his community service movies. It's a trilogy. So he had one of those playing there, and that's where we met. And so we're just, here we are, like live like 10 miles away from each other, and we have to fly to Kentucky to meet each other. And we just basically started talking from there. He started pitching the Clown Motel. He had driven by it and seen it, and it was me, him, and Rob Whitman, and we all just went out to do like the short film, and then just kept on going, did the feature. And right after we did the short film, actually, it was maybe a year after Ghost Adventures had been there, and they named the Clown Motel the scariest motel in America.
Oh,
and
awesome.
so we used that on our Kickstarter campaign, like, hey, come shoot, you know, there's a graveyard right here, there's clowns, it's the scariest motel in America. And we really leaned into that when we were, you know, raising the money for sure.
And by the way, people don't know, Joe is Joseph Kelly.
Joseph Kelly,
yeah. And I always put over the festivals for a lot of those reasons. You can just go and enjoy movies and stuff, but you're going to meet people that you can collaborate with, and there's lots of benefits to the festival outside of just seeing the movies, which is a big plus in itself.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, years ago I met the composer of the Clown Motel. He actually just recently passed, but he had finished Clown Motel 2 and the Stitcher before he passed. And I met him basically at Shriekfest, just kind of shooting the shit. You know, we started talking about how he got into the business. He was like, oh, I did this, you know, my first scene was in Urban Legend with Danielle Harris. He said that he got to do that, her death scene. And I was like, oh my God, I love Danielle Harris. Like, always wanted to work with her, been watching her since I was a kid. So it kicked off from there. And, you know, we just come time to do Clown Motel. You know, I gave him a call and I was like, hey, let's do this. And he was amazing. The work he could do. You could just tell him, like with the Stitcher, I was like, you know, I want this certain feel, this old timey, you know, creature, but not too fast. And, you know, you could just give him all this stuff and he would literally give you what you wanted on the first take. It was uncanny.
By the way, the Stitcher looks great. I have not seen it, but I just the look is very eerie, and it has me very interested in checking it out.
Okay. Well, so the Stitcher is actually a part of Joe Lujan's Lost Souls now. So as soon as we finished shooting, we were walking back to the car, and Joe was like, "Hey, I think this would be good for an anthology I'm doing," and it's a Jungle Plus original, and it's actually on. It's called Lost Souls, and it's out on YouTube on the V channels now. And I think I just checked before we got on here. It's like in 12 days, it's had 230,000 views. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Which I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I haven't talked to Joe in like 2 weeks, and he told me that. I was like, oh my gosh, really? Like it's a good start. You know?
Yeah. I didn't realize. So I'll be able to check it out now. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
And it's cool that, because I'm always a fan of short films, and it used to be there was really, after they played the festival, there was no real platform for them, you know, to go after that. Maybe you could upload them to your own YouTube, but there are more platforms now for the shorts to go, you know, after they run the festivals.
Yeah.
You know, including YouTube, but if there's a home that has a bunch of them, you know, they can get more eyes on them.
Oh, for sure. There's no way that if I just put it on YouTube, it would have gotten that many views. So it's very cool. It's very cool. And
when it did play festivals, did you attend any of those?
I I have attended a couple festivals, and it's actually still playing. Let's see, in 2 weeks in Houston, the Houston Horror Film Festival. We're up for actually best, best special effects. So,
awesome.
which are practical. So I'm very excited about that. So yeah, I'm gonna be at that one. And I'm really excited because Danielle Harris and Scout, they have their podcast is
Mhm.
going to be there, and so I was like, okay, cool, got tickets to that. So go to the festival, see the movie, kind of hang out with other filmmakers, watch some stuff, and then go see that'll be pretty cool. It should be a good
Yeah, it's a
weekend.
good time. Yeah. So, is the first time you saw one of your films at a festival? What was that experience like? With people.
Okay, so that we're going way back now. So I graduated from Full Sail Film School in 2000, and we moved to LA probably a couple weeks later. And that happened to be the first year of the Shriek Fest Film Festival that Denise Gossett runs. And I'm so sad it's not going to be here this year. Hopefully it comes back next year. It's just, again, that's where I met Jonathan. It's where it's just like an annual tradition, and it's so sad. But it was, I think I got to the post office box 5 minutes late, and she had said, it's got to be postmarked by this certain day. Years later, she's like, "Oh, honey, you should have just like sent it the next day and you'd have been fine." But so I didn't get in the first year, and I got in the second year, and I remember it was playing. It played right before, or a couple minutes before, like in the same block maybe as a movie called Terror Track, and it was an anthology that John Ritter was in, and it was like the year before he passed, and so I just remember the what I was thinking, like seeing the movie itself was fun and cool, but what I remember taking out of that is, I used to go my grandparents' house, and they would be watching Three's Company, and what would they have thought if I had told them, hey, yeah, that guy we're watching right now, someday he's going to have a movie playing, and so will I. Like that kind of stuff is so bizarre to me,
Mhm. Yeah. Now, along those lines, your parents, were they when you told them like you wanted to make movies, like what did they think of that?
I don't know if there was ever a day where it was like, hey, I want to make movies. It was kind of more like I was making movies from an early age. Like so I had my buddy's dad's gonna kill me here, but I was working for him, and he was paying me like $1.50 an hour at the beginning of the summer, and the end of the summer I got to where I was making $3 an hour. So yeah, I was making big money, right? And I paid off an $850 camera by the end of the summer. I was just working. I don't even know if that math works. How can you do that? But I did it, and my buddy and I shot a movie where it's called Buzzsaw, and I'm basically chained by this monster in the basement, and he rips my arm off. And now we had a fake arm, but at the time, everybody reacted to it. Everybody's like, "Oh my god!" Like jumping and and it was like that reaction to me. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, is getting that reaction, making horror movies. Like I remember sitting in the theater when we premiered Clown Motel, and I was sitting a little bit farther back, and there's a moment where Golden Ager, the character I play, has a jump scare, and I saw like everybody jump, and to me that was just it was just like, it was heartwarming. It was just like, yeah, I got him. It's like when you're in a haunted house, and you want to see your friends all jump, and be scared, and to get them on that, it was like this whole row just jumped. I saw it was like, and that is it's gold. It's gold for horror movie makers, for sure.
Yeah. So you also do a lot of acting. Do you have a preference? Create. I guess that's creating too, but directing, writing, or directing, or acting. I mean,
It all depends. There was a time when I didn't want to have any lines, because it's much easier to kind of just creep up behind somebody and hit your marks and have your hands in the right place. And the second you open your mouth, it's like, oh, am I saying this right? And then I think for Cloud Motel, I had, what was the lines? I'm going to bring my family back by claiming your once pure soul. 2 lines.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. I was so nervous about saying them. I was so nervous I was going to mess them up. It took me 2 or 3 takes because I was just like, okay, calm down, just say them, take your time, and then when I was editing, I was like, hey, Guthrie, can you like tweak my voice? Cause it sounds like I hate my voice. And so he kind of like added this little like demonic, undertone to my voice. And I think it really helped.
And you look great in the Clown Motel in the makeup.
Thank
It looks
you.
awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. It's really empowering. I was very shy when I was a kid. So when I would walk up to the front of the class, I would be scared that I'd trip on my shoestrings. I would be scared when I stood up that I would accidentally hit my desk. I was very scared that like my voice would crack. I was scared I'd say something stupid. And so that everybody else would laugh and everything. And it's putting on that golden age makeup. It allows me to stand in front of a camera and act with somebody when there's a camera and a sound guy and maybe 5 or 6 people inside kind of watching. I never would have thought I'd been able to do that. And I was scared to death to skydive. So all I did is put on the golden age makeup because, golden ager's not scared to skydive. He's a badass, right? And then I skydived. And
I probably wouldn't do that. But yeah.
I wouldn't have done it either without the makeup. I'm telling you, I wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah. That's pretty wild. So when you first get that makeup on that's behind you there, like, when you see yourself, what's that experience like?
I'm going to be honest. It's before you even see it. It's as you feel it just being put on you. It's like, I hate to say like war paint because that could be taken the wrong way, but like it really is kind of this shield, right? This you're just putting this aura on, if it makes sense, and you're just donning this. And as it's going, your mind, like you don't even need to look anymore. Like I don't need to look anymore in the mirror. I just feel it as the makeup goes on. I just feel that empowerment of being stronger, of nobody being able to stop the character, if that makes sense.
Just having no fear with that.
Yeah. If you look at it, like he's got the highest kill count of the first movie, and that's kind of technically by a fluke, because we were supposed to have another character get in for a reshoot we were doing, and that just wound up not happening. So we kind of had to tweak a little bit in the final moments, but I'm happy because of it, because Golden Ager looks like a badass now,
Yeah. No, it looks great. And what is that from there, that poster behind you? That says Halloween on it.
Oh, that is, let me see if I can do this without.
Yeah, because before we went live, I asked about something. We don't want everything to fall here.
Oh, it's probably going to happen, but I'll be able to show you.
Oh, I thought they were actually connected, but I see that Halloween is behind. Oh, I see.
So this is, I don't know if you remember in the mid 90s, they were doing a Halloween and Night of the Living Dead promotion at Blockbuster. And so they were given $5 for each one of them. Oh. Right. So this is what it was like actually in a Blockbuster store. And at the end of it, I was just like, hey, do you mind if I take it home? So I had to put my name on, and they called me afterwards. And I don't know if you can see, but when we were on Clown Motel 1, Tony Moran actually signed this for me on set.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does that have like a weird like hologram hand with the knife on it? It just has this really cool effect when you were showing it into the camera.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it does, but yeah.
No, it must not. It just had that like look when you were moving it.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. Tony Moran's a very cool guy. I know he's controversial in the last couple of years, but I think he's a good dude. I've met him many times.
He's always been good to us.
He's one of the coolest guys I've met. Really, really down to earth. He like, as far as that goes, he signed just a ton of stuff for people that were on set. Really very humble. They kept asking us, are you sure you guys got what you wanted, what you needed for the shoot and everything? He was very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's done a lot of stuff for local filmmakers here. Like we're in Massachusetts, in Boston. So I mean, he's a really good guy. He works with a lot of people.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I've never had a bad experience with him on the show or at conventions, so I think he gets a bad rap sometimes.
Yeah. I've never seen him at a convention, but every time I've seen him on set, he's been great, amazing.
Yeah. This is just the off topic, but I think sometimes people take someone's sense of humor more serious than it should be.
Yeah.
So, paranormal captivity. Of course, Trista brought this up because it's her favorite things: cats and ghosts.
Yeah.
So, how did you meet Trista? Have you ever worked with her?
I'm trying to think. I think it was at either Ronnie Angel's or Ozzy Caree's birthday party at the One Up. One Up Game Over. I can't remember what it was, but like we wound up like just kind of hanging out there, and then like 4 of us were playing this Pac-Man Battle Royal, crazy new version of Pac-Man game, and yeah, we just kind of all hanging out there. Yeah.
I think, great actor, Trista, not just, co-host here.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get her in one of your films at some point. I think
I've already talked to Joe Lujan about, obviously the Stitcher's mine, but it goes into his anthologies, but I've already talked to him about, okay, we might be able to use her for the Stitcher too. Like, I think there, if there's a future Stitcher out there, we might be using her. Yeah.
Very cool. Now, did you make the Stitcher during the pandemic? Because I don't really know much about it besides the post, because I didn't know it was out there that I could see it. So
yeah, no,
I assume that the mask was pandemic related, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, it was. It's basically, so we made it during the pandemic, and it's if you don't know the gist of it, so the Stitcher is an entity / spirit that, if you're refusing to wear your COVID mask, will show up at night and
I like this.
stitch one onto your face.
Oh, this is great.
I love it.
I'm even more interested now. Yeah.
Which is really cool, because like that's why we're up for best practical effects at the Houston Festival. So I'm hoping like we kind of bring something home there, because
that's awesome.
It's gross. It's
do you do the effects, or who does the effects? I guess
we had one of our producers, Jerry, had brought in Jake Porath, and so he kind of had this head set up that I had gotten a fish hook that I was putting through the 2 lips, right, of the thing, and sewing, and as I'm going down, I'm like, oh man, this is like, it came down like a jagged, almost like a jagged, like, I don't know how to explain it, but so it was like butting up against my finger. And I was like feeling the pressure, and I was like, if I keep doing this, I'm going to bleed. I can't tell anybody this, because I know Joe Lujan will stop me. He'll be like, no, we gotta be like safe and everything. And I was like, okay. So I just went for it. Kept cutting in, felt the blood coming. And then somebody over my shoulder was like, is that real blood? And I was like, yep. And kept on going.
Oh, damn, that's crazy. Well, hope no one was hurt. Yeah.
My finger was a little bit, but
yeah.
It's better now.
Yeah, you need a thimble next time. That's not as scary, I guess. If the Stitcher's carrying around a thimble. Yeah.
Right.
Andrew Horseshow wants to know, do you have any advice for new filmmakers?
Start with a short. It took me a long time to get to, even just to Clown Motel, to work with Joe. And Joe had done a couple features. Shorts you can do quicker, sometimes for less money, and you can just learn. That's the biggest thing. Learn how, whether you're a director, learn how to direct, learn when stuff goes wrong. How do you react to that? I could have wasted a lot of time on Saturday. But my camera guy, Gary, he was like, I was going to give you a half an hour to kind of like get over the fact that the wardrobe was a thing, and now we have to, more money, more time. And he was like, I would have come to you at that point. And I kind of collected myself, because, a director is truly a leader. They have to get everybody else going. And so I collected myself, and I came back in like 15 minutes. So like half the time. If you're a writer, like don't you have to be really open to notes, because somebody that's reading your script is not necessarily making a suggestion because it's bad. It might just be something that they're not seeing. And so they're kind of trying to get you to be able to put that on the page to what you're seeing a little bit better. If a conversation is flowing, if, sometimes you can take out like half of a chunk of dialogue and still get the same emphasis. If you're an editor, editing a feature, you should definitely you should be doing 5, 10, 20 shorts before you ever want to do that. It's very time consuming, very grueling. It takes a lot out of you. Doing a feature takes a lot out of you. So and collaborate. Try to get friends, get people that you're having fun with, that you're going to have fun with, that you're not going to be compatible with on set. And do it for fun. Do it for see if you really want to do it. Do a couple of shorts and see if it's really something you want to do, because it is something that even people that are doing features, I'm on here today, but it took me forever to actually do a feature. And it's because you have to find the right group of people to do it with,
No, I think that's great advice, especially the fun part, because if you do something, especially in arts, I think thinking I'm going to do this and make a whole bunch of money, I don't know if that's the right. If you happen to make money, that's a bonus. But if you're doing it because you enjoy doing it, then the end product is your fulfillment.
Yeah, like I'm helping out Joe. Joe is doing he's doing kind of an offshoot of Clown Motel. It's called Clowny, where I don't want to give away any of the details really, but so Trista is actually probably going to be on that set at some point this weekend. I'm going to help Joe out for, I'm just going to act for free,
Nice.
throw him a bone because I like doing it. And that's part of it. Is like now a couple people that know each other and are going to have fun on set. And that's the key word, is try to have fun, try to make it enjoyable.
It seems like common sense, but it does come up on the show a lot. If people like having you around, that's why if you look at the things and you notice a lot of the same people, it's because people like having them around.
Yeah.
If they don't like you having around, unless you're super talented, you're probably not going to be around too much.
Well, and I'll give you some more advice. Don't ever get arrested by Mike Ferguson.
Oh, okay. I will try not
he is scary.
I can imagine. Yep.
Yeah. I should, when I first had because before we talked to him and Troy just saw the banner I made, Troy was like, "Man, that's a bad mofo we have on."
Yeah, that's a bad looking dude right there.
Yeah.
And then he was super nice. So that was very cool.
Oh,
and
he was so
totally
upbeat, like just such
Yeah,
an
very
upbeat, positive guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Always trying to be helpful. Like, if you see something on set, maybe a different angle, a way to do it. We had to do this. I knock out my buddy. He's a cop, but Mike was kind of talking my buddy through it and how to like come down, hit your hand, be safe. Just always try to be helpful. He's a great guy. Yeah.
They mentioned horror movies that you grew up watching, but the last couple of years we talked about modern horror movies, since we just hit, I guess we're out of the 2000s now, the 2020s. But what were some of your favorite modern horror movies?
Oh man, you're gonna get me in trouble now, but I really liked It Follows. I really did. I thought the concept was amazing. I thought the opening scene with the creepy old lady coming up, like my God, some people don't like the pool scene and how they landed, but you gotta give it some credit of really starting with a good vibe. You're sitting there tied in a chair and this creepy thing's coming up. Like, it doesn't matter how slow or fast, whew, all it takes is one cutaway from the camera to have that person right up on you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the slow zombies are a lot creepier than the fast zombies. So,
I do.
which I've seen you play a zombie before too. Looks pretty.
Yes, I have. I have. I did a Doritos Crash the Super Bowl commercial where
Nice.
where all the zombies were coming up on the house, and the one guy's like, hey, I always thought Doritos would be my last meal. So he takes a bite, and then one of the zombies turns into a beautiful woman. And then they're like, so like three guys in there, they keep eating, and all the zombies turn into beautiful women. It turns into like a party.
Yeah, that old story. Yeah.
Yeah. Doritos saving the world.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Andrew says X and the Black Phone really raised the bar for a new horror film.
I like Black Phone. I actually just saw it with a buddy, Drew, on Friday night. I think it was opening night. I thought that was great. It was spooky.
Yeah, I saw it when
I haven't seen that one yet.
Thursday. So yeah, I saw it when it came out.
Yeah, that's the one that's been supposed to come out like since January, and
I think even before that, I remember seeing trailers for it last year, and then I kept looking forward to it. And I read the. It was weird because when I read the short story, it's so short. I was like, how are they going to make a movie about this? They're going to have to add which they did. They really had to add a lot to make it into a movie.
What you guys think about X? I loved it.
X.
I loved it.
I liked it, but I think all the hype for it I didn't live up to the hype to me, but I still liked it.
What?
Here's I have a different take on it. Okay, so I had just seen M. Night Shyamalan's Old, and obviously people are gonna be yay nay on that, but I just seen that, and I'm getting up there in age, and so I was like, that movie made me think a little bit, and then I went to see X, and I don't want to give it away, but the mentality in the old lady of
I think she's
not being
bad for her, honestly,
not being beautiful anymore. I just thought that was fascinating. It was fascinating to me, and I was like, oh my god, I thought it was brilliant, but I think it's something you can only see the brilliance in if you're semi going through oh my god, I'm old period, right?
For me, it's weird because I actually think that stuff's is the strongest part of the movie, because I think she's very sympathetic stuff. But then there's also kind of over the top goofy kills, which I like that too, but I don't think they necessarily work together.
I think if you look at how fragile she was, the one kill out the barn through the peephole was a little well, I don't know that she would have had the strength to do that. Mm-hmm. So I there was a little bit of that to me.
But still, I don't want to. That's kind of nitpicky, whatever. But I still think it's good. I just to me, it doesn't quite work the two things together. Is all. Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing the ads for it now, but I haven't seen the movie yet.
Oh, you got to see it, man.
All right, I'll have to see that one.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It says I'm looking forward to Pearl. Oh yeah, that's the prequel.
Yeah. Okay, so along those lines, I saw that at the end, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to see that. But again, it kind of takes it away from me if she was always doing that.
I agree 100% with that.
If it was one time thing and she was only doing it the one time and it just kind of snapped her, like, oh my god, that to me is so much more brilliant.
Yeah, I agree with that. You're right, because then she has a motivation in X as opposed to
it's not just back to the old stomping grounds, right?
That one looked a little more comedic to me, which again, I like that kind of stuff. I just think it's kind of it's
I'll probably go see it. I'll probably go check it out.
Too, artist Mrs. Kim says Dave is awesome. So, no question, this Dave is awesome. So yeah,
we like that.
She was on set doing a couple some of the makeup and stuff like that for Clown Motel. So hey, Kim.
Yeah. By the way, where can people see Clown Motel?
It's on Tubi and Amazon Prime. It used to be in Walmart and all those physical stores. I believe still Tubi, Amazon Prime. There's a couple other streamers. It's funny because once your movie goes to like a distribution place, it's like oh wait, it's here and here and here. Like I didn't even know. Oh, it's on Roku. Like, see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
always hear, I mean, I personally always like Tubi myself anyway, but
do
I
too.
always hear from independent filmmakers that it's one of the better sites for filmmakers. One of the better
Yeah,
streams.
I mean, I watch a lot of stuff there. I think what did I just watch? I watched
Yeah, as
the
a fan, there's lots of cool stuff on there.
Oh,
That,
yeah.
yeah, like the original Sleepaway Camp I watched a couple months ago.
I love that one so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool because it's got both older stuff and then it's got a lot of independent stuff, so you can find like all kinds of cool. The only downside to me is it's a little hard to navigate Tubi. You just kind of
sometimes there's stuff just everywhere in there. I think that's where I watched the Tag Along, which was a brilliant. It's not Korean. It's who made The Sadness. Where was that from?
Taiwan. It was made by Canadian, but it was made in Taiwan.
Right. But this one's a Taiwanese film too, and the tag along. It was so good. I enjoyed it so much, and I found it by mistake on Tubi, just looking through a bunch of stuff and like, oh, what's this? And we watched it and we both loved it.
Oh,
nice.
Cool. I'll have to check that out. Yeah,
check that one out.
That is cool though too. In modern day, it's much easier to watch international horror. Before, like just a few things might come out, but now with Shudder and Tubi, like
yeah, before you had to search it out, you never knew where you would end up trying to find things.
I have the Video Hound horror catalog. It's like this thick, and I had a buddy that probably 15 years ago. He's like, man, there's this movie where this happened and this happened and this happened, and he saw that book in my place. He's like, okay, I'm gonna read through this. And he got all the way up to H's. He read every single page. I mean, it's a thick book. He read every single page. He got up to H, and he realized it was humongous.
Oh,
that's
dedication, though.
Yeah. I love that. But that reminds me, I was at a convention and someone mentioned that they try to push A names. This was when Redbox was real popular because then they're at the top of like the search and just rename your movie Aardvark.
I mean, look, if we got Clown Motel, we got Clown Motel 2, and now we have Day of the Cicada, so we're at least up there.
Yeah, at least you're A, B, C, D. Yeah.
Right. Don't make Zorro.
Oh yeah. Nobody will see it.
That hurt Zapped a lot.
Zorro and the Zombies might be a good movie, but nobody's gonna get it.
Yeah, right. I like that though. Maybe that's a new take on the zombie genre.
Zorro and the Zombies. Yeah, they did. What did they do? Pride and Prejudice with zombies, right?
Oh, yeah. I actually never saw that.
I never did either. I had a friend that was really excited to see it, and I never caught it.
Yeah, I saw Abe Lincoln Vampire Hunter, which I remember liking at the time, but I don't know.
Yeah, that whole blend of things wasn't really my trip.
Okay, so maybe you guys have said this on your podcast. I haven't. Forgive me, I haven't seen every single one. But what is the movie that scared you guys the most?
Scared me the most.
All time or something recent?
All time.
It's not necessarily. It's actually not the movie, but the trailer for Magic always scared me a lot as a kid. It's a very short with Dennis. It's not Dennis Hopper. With Hannibal Lecter. What's the name?
Okay.
You got from Hannibal.
Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins, and he's got the ventriloquist dummy, and it's a real short.
It's a great movie from the 70s.
But the trailer really scared me. He's not even in the trailer. It's just the man,
just the puppet.
And he does the little poem, and then at the end it's "and you're dead."
Yeah, magic is fun. You're dead.
I hadn't seen.
I think
dolls.
What it was, we had a Hugo doll at the house. See, Neal's my little brother. I don't know if he told you this or not, but
no.
And so Hugo was the man of 1,000 faces. So he was this little ventriloquist dummy, and he came with 1,000,000 scars and all kinds of prosthetics that you could glue on his face. And so I was like a 12-year-old Tom Savini with this thing. I thought it was the greatest toy ever made. And Neal was probably 3 or 4 at the time. And so he would see that ad and it just spooked him out. He was just like, nope. He'd leave the room.
Would probably tease me with the
I'd take Hugo and chase you into your room. So
the movie's really good too, but the trailer is what always scared
me. I was about 12, and my parents had been divorced, and so my mom went on a ski trip, for the weekend, and it was Friday night, and the sun was setting through the window, and I hit play on this thing, or no, it was on HBO, and it's a really gruff voice like, the following movie is blah, 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 one of the most heinous in history, this American blah, 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 this serial killer, blah, blah. And then it goes, based on a true story. And I was like, now, like a dumbass, of course I'm going to watch it, but it was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Scared the living hell out of me. I've never watched it again. And people are like, you got to watch it again. I'm like, I'm not going to take its power away that it had. It was the scariest movie for me in my, like, because it's always going to be something different for everybody. Mm-hmm. Nobody's going to come around at the same time.
There is something about that movie anyway that does have it has a realistic feel, and it's like something you're not supposed to be watching. Yeah,
so gritty the way they shot it.
Yeah, I mentioned this before, but so I saw original 35 millimeter print, and it was very bad, but it really added to the movie because it adds to the grittiness, and like you're watching like almost like a snuff film. It's like, wow, I'm not supposed to watch it. And then I saw it at the same theater, the restored version, and it was real pristine and crisp and not nearly as effective.
Not nearly. Oh
yeah, I think it's got to be a little grunged up. Then,
So the other one, if the more recent one, this is probably 10, 15 years ago. I don't remember, but I'm watching in an apartment complex, and there's, it's a Saturday. It's the middle of the day. There's 50 people. There's people right outside. And, but for whatever reason, it really got me because I knew that this was not supposed to happen, but it was the strangers. And it's when in the middle of nowhere, middle of the night, that first knock on the door. And it was like, I literally, that knock on the door for whatever reason, cause I'm a grown man, whatever reason, it scared the hell out of me. And I turned it off. I was like, nope, nope, they're good. They did their job. They scared the shit out of it. Boom, done. Yep.
How about Troy? Do you have something?
I'm trying to think.
But what scared you?
For the most part, I think I'm too much of like a deep thinker, and I'll overanalyze things. And so it's probably like something, and like you said, you can't really go back and check out something that scared you when you were younger, because then you just kind of, the hell was I scared about this thing for?
Yeah.
So it was probably something just, for whatever reason, there was something about Food of the Gods when it's based off an old H.G. Wells story. And so they find whatever substance is bubbling out of the ground, and it turns all the critters gigantic. And so in the movie, there are rats about the size of like a horse running around, but they didn't really bother me that much. I don't know why. But in the film, like, there are maggots, and this woman reaches into a cabinet to pull out like a cereal box, and this maggot that's about 1.5 feet long is latched onto her arm, and it just freaked me the fuck out. I couldn't handle that. I don't know why. I was probably 9 or 10 years old, and I think we saw it at the drive-in, and I just kind of looked at the floor the rest of the movie. I'm like, nope, can't take this anymore. That just really bothered me.
And then you feel lame if you watch it now, and it's like,
that's yeah. I watched it probably like 10 years ago, and you're laughing at it because it's a big foam rubber maggot. I'm like, oh, that's great. I love it.
1984, we were in North Carolina watching Gremlins. So it was me, my mom, my sister, and my mom's friend, and one by one, everybody started leaving the theater. And my mom's like, well, hell, I got to stay here and watch because I can't leave him alone. He's too young.
Yeah, that's a real, honestly, a scary movie for what's considered like a kid-friendly horror film.
Yeah. I hear originally the mom was actually supposed to be beheaded and die. And I think
really?
Spielberg actually was like, you guys have a better movie if she's not.
I know, because I grew up watching Siskel and Ebert, and I still like to watch the old ones just because I grew up watching them. But I remember they get mad about that movie, I think, because it was it's scary for. Yeah. But honestly, when you're a kid, you don't really want to watch like a kid's movie. I don't think you want to watch something that is a little a little more scary.
Yeah, totally.
But it's fun too at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Artist Mrs. Kim says Devils of Darkness, 1965 is her scary movie. I don't know this
Check
movie.
that one out.
Yeah, I don't think I know that one either.
We're all going to mark this down and look it up.
Yep.
And let's see. And Andrew says, not everything. I agree with this too. Not everything's made for Blu-ray. And so Texas Chainsaw Massacre looks better grainy.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the movies from that era, there's exceptions. Like I think Phantasm looks really good cleaned up. But a lot of the movies, even like Hellraiser, I know,
foggy too.
You can see some of the people walking around, like
yeah.
Like at the end of Hellraiser, when they're running through the hallway, you can see the legs moving, like when on the restored version.
What was like when we went to the theater to see not Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and seeing it on the big screen, and I forgot how goofy, like the very end when Freddy drags the mom through the window, and how just awful that looked.
But yeah, it's still effective, but it does. You could tell it's a mannequin, but it also kind of works because it's like a dream sequence at the same time. So, yeah, and if you're sucked into the movie, but I just bought my ticket next. I think it's next Saturday, midnight till noon at Brookline. Anyone in the Boston area. Never Sleep Again marathon. They're showing the original 7 Friday the 13th Nightmare on Elm Street movies in 35 millimeter.
That'll be badass. That'll be great.
The first 6 and then New Nightmare.
Love New Nightmare.
I actually think it might be my favorite of the sequels.
It really might be. I think.
Yeah. I think it'll go one and then that one. Yep.
I always put it this way: if somebody's like, is this a horror movie? Like, how big is the horror? I'm like, well, I want to go Nightmare on Elm Street 1 because that's scary Nightmare on Elm Street, and if we're going more body count movie, we're talking Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4. Yeah.
And the New Nightmare, I think it asks a really interesting question, like of the audience who are into these movies, like. We're all drawn to the killer in these movies as opposed to the heroes. And I don't know. I like that. I like that about the movie.
Yeah.
It's something you can think about. It's interesting, the idea that, the creature is kind of gets power from people believing in him.
I personally like that because more often than not, I'm playing one of the creatures. So
there you go.
I like that people are drawn to us.
Yeah, it's really rare, especially for the franchises where it's not the villain is the star of them. It's almost I think like Ash is one of the very few, in the Evil Dead movies where it's more about the hero.
Yeah, you're probably right. I can't really think of anybody.
It's funny. You root for the bad guy until there's the final girl, and then you're rooting for the final girl. Yeah,
that's why I do think A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is one of the considered the best because you actually do like the heroes in that. They're all likable, and they also work together, which I think is cool.
You actually do, yeah.
Matthew Van Asia. Yo, what's up, Dave Bailey?
What's up, man?
I'm looking forward to Appetite for Sin. We played the trailer during a festival last week.
Yeah. I was over at Joe's for a private screening of that when they were kind of going over it for notes. I was like, that was kind of cool. It's cool to see. Always good. Like, that's what I love about, having friends in the horror genre is like, hey, you want to go out and watch this movie or be in this movie cool. Or, it's always fun.
Yeah. That something I was gonna say about the internet too is it's got a lot of negative things, but like when I was a kid, not everyone loved horror movies, but now you can find people who have who love horror movies too, or whatever you're into. It doesn't have to be horror movies. You can find like-minded people to go and watch these things or enjoy these things.
Oh yeah, there's tons of Facebook pages for horror people. It's like there's so many you can't even be in them all.
Oh, true, right. True enough.
When I was in LA a couple years ago and I went to the horror movie trivia night in Burbank, I thought I knew a lot about trivia till I was there. Those people were like on another level.
Oh, they live for that. Yeah.
Like, oh man, I was happy to get a couple right, but they knew like the kill count and like RoboCop 2 and 117 or something. I was like, how the hell does anyone know this? But
Well, I guess about the only one I know for Clown Motel is if somebody asks who has the highest kill count in part 1, it's Golden Ager.
That is a good record to have, I think.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty proud of that one. I was excited.
I'll have that one committed to memory in case the trivia comes up on that.
There you go.
That says Dave gave good notes for Appetite, so that's good.
Again, that's always, you're on so many movies. It's you see a lot, and like when people are, it's kind of like what I was saying before, is like when people are willing to kind of listen to not a critique, not a breakdown, but just like, hey, this is a thought, like what if you guys did this, or maybe you should do this. It's always fun, like, everybody, like, again, you got to step away, you got to be able to let other people look at it too and see how they are interpreting what you've put together, because it's not always straightforward, that you've put it together the right way and that people will be able to understand it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think a lot, if you're making it, you're probably so into it and seen it so many times. Sometimes you'll miss things that other people might notice the first time they watch it.
Yeah.
Do you do your own editing, by the way? I know you mentioned editing a few times.
Yeah. So I edited Clown Motel 1 and 2, and I'm editing. I did not do the Stitcher. I was in the middle of Clown Motel 2, and Joe Lujan, when we were walking off set, we just kind of got into a conversation. It was like, he said something about, would you want somebody else to edit it? And I was like, oh my God, yes, take it.
Someone else stitched the Stitcher together.
But yeah, it's interesting because, like you said about seeing a million times, there's a scene in Clown Motel 2 where there's a bunch of clowns running by. And here's another good trivia for you is in this particular scene, I'd seen it, 100 times. And Joe had too. And then one night we're kind of getting finished. It's towards the end of all the deliverables and stuff, and we're getting ready to deliver. And we were playing this, and he looks and he's like, was Vicky wearing her COVID mask? So, on set, you had to wear them until you're actually in scene. Mm-hmm. And one of the clowns actually had left it on accidentally during the scene running through. I'm like, how did you just get that when I've seen this like 3,000 times and I haven't?
Did you have to edit that out, or
it's a trivia question for you guys. It's going to be in the movie.
I like it. Why not? A clown has no rules, and they decided to put him out.
That's true. If anyone has no rules, it would be a clown.
So, Day of the Cicada, you're working on now, and do you have a time frame? Do you hope that it comes out, or?
I am trying to premiere it, at least just a premiere on the weekend after the Super Bowl, which is sometime in February. But if possible, that's just for like the filmmakers and stuff, and anybody that's in town to come see it. But if I could get it ready for AFM, or at least a trailer and a kind of a pitch deck, I would try to get it for AFM so that we can get it out there faster to everybody else. Yeah. So hopefully I don't want to say next June because that's way too far away, but it all depends on how Clown Motel 2 does and who we can find and how quickly. And the holidays are a really tough sell to premiere something. Nobody wants to do it, so that's kind of why I'm thinking that time period.
And how about Clown Motel 2? When will that be available?
Clown Motel 2 will be available on VOD July 30th.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so much quicker on that one.
Okay.
That's very cool. Looking forward to that. And where can people follow you to see what you're up to?
I am Dave Bailey, DAVE Bailey, BAILEY on Facebook, but also Clown Motel's Golden Ager. And then I'm not really on Twitter or Instagram much. But we also have pages on Facebook for Day of the Cicada and the Stitcher. And if you also want to, again, look for Joe Lujan's Lost Souls on Facebook and YouTube. It's got 230,000 views in 12
that's
days. So let's get that up to
That's
500
totally cool.
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna check that out. It's very cool.
Yeah, you'll have 2 new ones anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
235,000.
And 2.
Right. Perfect.
But everyone else here watching will also be watching.
Yeah, true.
So N3. No, I'm just kidding. This has been very cool to talk with you.
Yeah, it's been a
Yeah.
great time.
Thanks,
And
guys.
thanks,
Appreciate
Trista,
it.
for setting it up.
Oh,
Always
definitely.
thank you.
Maybe we'll come back after the premiere. Maybe she'll be around that time.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward. Yeah.
Yeah,
to
you
talk
definitely
again.
have to come back. We'll just
Yeah.
rap about everything.
Sounds good.
We'll watch some of these movies people brought up.
Yes.
Devils of Darkness, 1965. You can watch the Magic trailer and
I'll
watching
drop
And Food of
the
the Gods.
I'll drop the Paranormal Captivity link. It's on Vimeo. I'll drop it into the comments afterwards.
Oh, very
all
nice.
right,
Very nice.
good. Yeah. All right. Well, it's very fun. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you so
too,
much.
guys. Appreciate it.
Night, and thank
Good
you
night,
everyone for
everybody.
that. Bye.
See you, Neal.
See you, Troy. See you, Dave. See you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
See you later, guys.